This has been on my list for a while now, but with the remaster coming out in November, I figured it was about the proper time to go over Super Mario RPG and the Legend of the Seven Stars. What is it about? Well, take the combat systems from other turn-based RPGs, add some important Mario characters in there, and finally add some of that Square Enix, Squaresoft, Square spice that everybody loves, and you get one of the greatest RPGs of all time. Boy, do I have some great things to say about this game. But before we get started, I want to address the large fire-breathing turtle in the room. Spoilers. This video will include some story spoilers and boss spoilers, so if you haven't played the game, please click off, find a way to play through it, and then come back. This game is a journey from start to end, so I don't want to be the reason that this is spoiled for you. Anyways, back to the good. Starting us off with combat, you may notice that I tend to start with combat in a lot of the games I cover, and that's because when games where battling is the center of the game, if the combat, the main part of the game, isn't good, then the game isn't going to be very good. With Super Mario RPG, this isn't a problem. The main reason to this being timed hits. If you press a button at the right time during an attack, an animation that will typically play is extended and you'll get a little extra damage. Some special attacks also have additional button inputs to keep the attack going, such as Mario's Fireball and Super Jump. This also goes for attacks going the other way. If an enemy attacks you and you time a button press right, then you can partially block some of the damage coming from the attack. And that's not where the good things end about the combat. You can also make builds out of the different characters. For example, at the end of my first playthrough, I had made my healing character, Peach, into a tank that can only ever take 1 damage at a time, and that was if she took damage. On the topic of healing characters, we may as well move on to the second point, the characters. Now there are 3 types of characters, Battle, Healing, and Geno. Battle characters are exactly what they sound like. They're great at dishing out damage and can take a good amount of it as well. Battle characters consist of Mario and Bowser. Healing characters are also pretty self-explanatory. They heal. Healing characters consist of Peach and Mallow, kind of. The last category is Geno. This category is only made up of Geno, but is more so a magic class with Geno making use of a lot of magical attacks. Mallow can also fall under the class of Mage, but everybody uses Mallow as a healer, or at least I did up until I got Peach. The last thing is music, and you know how this works by now. Roll the footage. I actually don't have much to say for this part, but starting us off is the final boss. He is extremely difficult if you do not come in prepared. I was only able to beat him by brute forcing my way through using my tank medic Peach that I had made to keep reviving Bowser and Mario as soon as they fell. The second thing is replayability. This game is a great first time playthrough, that's why I put such a heavy emphasis on the spoiler warning at the beginning. I had a blast playing through the game the first time, but I have no desire to play it again. And I think the culprit of that is the text boxes. They're unskippable and they scroll really slow. However, I believe those are the only gripes I have with this game. Starting us off is the health counters. For your own health, there are clear counters at the top left corner of the screen. However, for the enemies, there is no obvious health counter. Whenever you deal damage to an enemy, you just get a damage indicator telling you how much damage was dealt. No clear sign telling you how much health is left. Now, you can figure out enemy health points by dealing damage to enough enemies over and over again to figure out where exactly their health is, but I say no clear indicator because there is a way to see enemy health points. Once Mallow reaches level 6, he gains the special attack, Psychopath. If used on an enemy, it'll show how much health points they have remaining. It's just a strange symbol that can be simplified with a health bar, or a counter, or something. However, this must have been a very deliberate choice by the developers because it seems to carry over into the new remake. Next are some of the enemies. Some of the enemies are just stronger, recolored, renamed versions of earlier enemies. It's a little lazy, sure, but it's understandable. You can only make so many enemies before you're out of ideas, and I would much rather have recolored ones so that I know I'm fighting stronger enemies than the same enemies I was just one-shotting suddenly taking a lot more damage to kill. Finally, we talk about King Calamari. If you've played this game, you know what I'm about to talk about. This boss is unnecessarily difficult for where he is in the game. The boss right after King Calamari, Jonathan Jones, gave me less trouble than King Calamari did. I think this has something to do with King Calamari being a 3-stage boss. You have to fight through 2 waves of 3 tentacles before you can actually get to the boss himself. And when you do actually get to the boss, you still have to defeat 2 more tentacles alongside King Calamari himself. For my closing thoughts for this game, it is one of the essential SNES games. If you've played Super Metroid, Super Mario World, Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, any of those games, and you've enjoyed them, and you've never played Super Mario RPG, it is an absolute must-play.